for possibly now the absolute last time. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the EPL Season 5 Relegation Tournament. We're in the final stage. It is the lower bracket finals between Ghost Gaming and Rush. Ghost just took a dominating stance back on Train. 16-3, I believe, was the final score. And now we go on to Overpass. So this could be the very end of Rush's Pro League run. They'll have to stop it here and win at the third map if they want to stay alive. Otherwise, Ghost will take it, and they'll claim their slot for the upcoming season, Season 6 of EPL. Bach, what are we looking at going into this map now?
Well, I actually have a really important question for you here. If you fly around the map, all of the signs are in German. Why is the bank not?
I don't know. What's the German word for bank?
I don't speak German, so I don't know. But I'm just like, you know, I'm casually like translating signs through Google Translate, and then I get to the bank and I'm like, well, I know what that says, and I just continue flying on.
That's because the German word for bank is just bank. So.
Oh, that's so disappointing. Couldn't they just make up a German word so it would like fit the motif of the map?
I'm pretty sure the word bank did like derive from the German language.
It doesn't sound German. It just, I don't know.
Something close to the original German language. I could be wrong about that, but you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, looking at these two teams on paper, Ghost Gaming played so much better on Train, but it is Train, a map that a lot of North American teams absolutely hate. So I guess you could argue that maybe Rush was just underprepared for it. But at the same point in time, like just watching the two teams stack up against one another, Ghost had them like every engagement almost. And it's exactly what we saw last night as well when Rush played Enigma 6. It felt like they were just being outplayed consistently across the board, regardless of the strat or setup. So I really don't have too much confidence in Rush right now, even though this is their map pick.
Well, getting into it now, Rush are going to be true to their name. They're just going to rush their way into the B-bomb site, starting it right off. It's Toy leading the charge. Wardell trying to hold from the backside over there. But Rush still take pretty good control of it. Problem is, though, is that Ghost are going to be moving in on a pretty quick flank. It doesn't seem like Rush took too much confidence to be able to hold outside of it. The only exception to this is Ruru in water right now. He goes 1 for 1, but is then immediately taken down still. Good positions and a good ability for Rush to be able to hold this back up, but nobody's watching for Monster. So that's a huge avenue being opened back up. Thankfully, Seb misses a few very crucial shots, but at the very least, it distracts to let a few more teammates start to wiggle their way back in. It is left down to Heartbeat at the end of it, though. The chaos subsiding. Heartbeat will have to try to clutch out the 1v2. He currently does not have a kit there. Maybe one on the ground, though, that he can try and utilize. He's taking out Akis. He's going to tap onto the bomb now to try to get Silent to move into the site. It's going to work. Looking for that headshot. He's not going to find it. And Silent ends up with a 2k on the round and gets that final 1v1 clutch to secure it for Rush.
There was a kit somewhere. I just don't know where it ended up. Maybe it was in water. I couldn't find it on the ground. At that point, Silent just swings out wider than he had to. He could have just baited that out a little bit longer. Once he sees that he's off the bomb, just fall back again, play that game. But he feels confident, and he's going to take the fight, and that might be the boost that Rush needs to get themselves back into this best of 3, because there is a third map to follow, and it's not a good one for Rush. So if they're going to take it, it's going to require some confidence. It does look like it's going to be a full-bore A attack right now, as a lot of the players from Rush are just charging up long A with the flashbangs behind them in case someone's holding a passive angle. I like the setup from Ghost. So much presence towards the connector, but it's not going to really work out well for them, as basically Rush abandons any mid presence and goes completely towards long with only one player watching party. That's Blade, who's way back with the ump.
Yeah, and now Rush are going to swing themselves in towards A pretty quickly, which means they should be able to take the site. Oh, unfortunately there. Who is that? Who's Crondle? I think they changed his name.
That's their coach.
Oh, okay.
Why is Crondle playing?
Yeah, that threw me off in the pistol.
B's not here.
That's who it is. Okay, so it's not B, right? He didn't just change his name?
No, that's a different player.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know what's going on. Maybe B lit his computer on fire. I have no idea. I mean, Crondle is kind of a player and a coach at the same time, just like B is. They're both in the same position. So he actually coached them at the Mountain Dew League. But I feel like those two are slightly interchangeable. I think that B is a better player overall, and he's more used to playing with this roster. It's an interesting time for them to have an issue here where he's not in the server.
Yeah, apparently, from what we've been told, B just had to go, so he might have had like an IRL thing happen or something, and he might have had to drop out. So Crondle is jumping in to take his place.
No, I'll find out. I'll do some investigative journalism here. Yeah, I'm gonna pull off my what's that guy with the mustache from the 80s and 90s? Geraldo Rivera.
Before my time, so that's all.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're a young blood.
Yeah.
I always forget. You're still baby-faced.
Well, we do have now Ghost going for another sort of just a half investment on a few of their players for what they were able to save from that last round, but for the most part, it is going to be basically just a trash round. Crondle and Neptune just have USPs, and then they have a various amount of pistols for the other 3 players, so still heavy-handed for Rush, more than likely to be able to take this one. But we could see some action over here by the bathroom connector. They are pushing back in. The first swing rolls out, but it's just completely destroyed by Rush. Very well played there. And that should pretty much seal the deal for this round. The last 2 are definitely towards the other half of the map. So by the time that we do see Ghost able to rotate up there, we are going to have Rush already up with full control of the site. So it doesn't even look like that the last 2 from Ghost are even going to try to do much. They have armor, and in the case of Seb, he's an with head armor, so they might as well just sit back and try to save.
Yep, I mean, at this point, just try and hang on to that if you can, because it's worthwhile holding on to it. Wardell's got the deagle as well. It's actually a good setup to try and hold on to these guns, as Seb's in a corner where he's really at no risk whatsoever of being pushed from the door with Wardell holding it. And even if Wardell falls, Seb's right there for the trade kill. So Rush is looking for these remaining players, but I don't think they're going to find them anytime soon. The bomb should blow in just a bit here. Silent is still convinced that there could be a player lurking about. He even does a double check. Like, are they here? Are they here? Are they here? The bomb blows up, and now Seb's at risk. He's got to concern himself with the mini canal. Oh, no. Just like that, they lose the ump. They get the deagle, I guess. That's something, but yeah, they lose the ump.
Yeah, that was the one big gun. The deagle save means basically nothing, since Wardell's just going to buy up a whole new gun behind it and still end up with only, like, what, $100 left over. So, yeah, doesn't really save them a whole lot of cash at the end of the day to carry that through. But regardless, Ghosts now having themselves a full buy. Hopefully we'll have the firepower to be able to hold off against Rush and pick up a few rounds for themselves. Rush pretty much opening this up in a default fashion. A little bit fast to take control of water, but thankfully for them, no one from Ghost pushed back out. We do have a possible boost, and obviously Wardell hitting that first shot against Blade curtails some of the pressure closer towards A, but ooh, Heartbeat almost finds himself knocked out. Thankfully, D stacks on top of his teammate there just in the nick of time and avoids that, and still gets away with the intel too. Knows that they have a little bit of presence towards water right now.
Wardell with a flash deep towards that B bomb site. Man advantage right now for Ghost Gaming, a position they've been in pretty consistently in the past. The Molly's going to go down on Catwalk. Ruru's going to have to go through it. Somehow they don't take too much damage. I didn't see if they smoked it, but they make it into the site, and that's 2 quick kills for Neptune. Yeah, the smoke is down. Silent at least picks up 1 before Connor arrives. Try and save the day. It's Toy in the site, and he's not going to live too much longer as Wardell is watching that pole. So it's going to be the first round for Ghost. 3 players survive as well, which is a nice start to try and build up some of that economic cash flow.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good start indeed. But for Rush here now, they still have at least 1 more buy round to go through before they themselves are going to end up on an eco. 4 AKs and the single op for Silent. We will see how this ends up panning out for them, as Rush are going to proceed into what again appears at the very least to be another normal default setup here, but immediately they'll meet resistance this time in the connector if they still try to go through those lower halls. Both Seb and I believe Wardell are in here. And Wardell actually in an interesting spot with the op on top of the steps. This could be a little bit of a close angle for him, but Ake is like slow peeks into it. There you go. Gets greedy though and re-peeks, so Ruru is going to trade that back out. And now we have the potential battle between Seb and Ruru, as Seb's going to swing back in, re-executes there, gets back control of the connector, and brings the advantage back into the control of Ghost.
3 versus 4 right now. Ghost Gaming with the man advantage. Nade up and over Toy's shoulders. Doesn't do any damage. Just barely avoids it. Got Seb coming in, though, from connector. Toy can't really do a whole lot from that position. He's kind of pinned in a corner at that. So it will be Blade and Silent. Again, Rush are in a position where they're down multiple players trying to take a site. This is basically Train all over again. These rounds looking very similar to that. And this could be disastrous if this continues on. Even with Crondle playing, they seem to be doing decent. A player who has not played with the active rotation on a normal basis. Blade's back behind the truck on the site, and they've got a decent take going here. Silent, good line of sight onto Crondle as well as he peeks him through the crack in that smoke. They're going to boost up and over. Are they going to be able to see him? Yeah, they do. They drop Silent, but Blade's still in the site. So it's down to a 2v1.
Swings in and ends up losing himself in the process. Looked like he was going to get that kill. So very unfortunate there. Ghost almost lost themselves towards the end of it, but they do still indeed close out upon the round, and that's going to cause the breaking of Rush. So they should end up at most with a half buy on a few of their players. A majority of them, however, are not even going to be able to do that. As we can see, just a couple P250s rolling in. The biggest buy you'd have would be over for Blade, but even he buys relatively light. Just a smoke, 2 flashbangs, and the P250. And judging from the track record we saw back on Train, this should be a relatively easy round for Ghost to close out on.
Wardell in mid doesn't even need to hit the shot. Seb's gonna open fire, and it's 4 for him. Wardell's like, I'm not letting you get all the glory here. I'll at least get 1 kill. As Seb just mows them down on the push into mid. And that's now 11 kills for him as he's his way well past the others to the top frag position. And it's going to keep the AWP in play with ease as well. Crondle's still holding on to the AWP. Doesn't even feel like he needs to upgrade past that one. It'll be 5 AKs for Rush. No AWP for Silent. So again, Wardell can flex that AWP might, that scoped rifle. He's just got to be careful. He's moving up pretty far right now on long A, trying to peek towards the stairs. Or the playground for that matter. But he's not going to spot anything early on as the closest player is back by the stairs. It's Silent jump peeking looking for that aggression.
Blade messed up. I think he tried to molly steps early on here, but he ended up just throwing it into that shelf that's at the bottom of the ladder. So basically throws $400 away at the beginning of the round. So not going to be the greatest. Thankfully, they still have 1 more, so they should still be able to utilize that as well. They end up going for this B hit since Akis is sitting right behind sandbags currently. But at the moment, it is just waiting down the time, as we can see from Rush. Probably won't be too much, though, as they've got everyone here. They're all set up. I think Silence is kind of lurking and preventing the CTs from moving in for a flank. At least a full flank. And with Blade getting that first kill, well, now they really don't have a choice. They've been revealed. I'm imagining Neptune saw the bombs. They're going to move into the site, but we already have full rotates. Doesn't matter, though, as Rush making great progress here. It didn't seem like Ghost was ready for that direct contact at all, and now it's already down to 7 Wardell, who really aren't going to have a choice but to fall back and save.
A big mistake from Ghost there. They try to get aggressive with the deep smoke on Monster Canal. They throw a pop flash up and over, and Neptune peaks. Unfortunately, they are right next to him, and he actually dinks the lead man, I believe. So he gets dropped, and then as soon as they stop shooting him, they realize, okay, well, someone had to throw that pop flash from the canal, so they start spamming, and they connect with Connor as well. He has to back up, tries to get a molly out to throw it, sees the player coming up catwalk, tries to switch back to his gun. I mean, it was just a really awkward exchange on the B site, and then there was only 1 player left to try and defend. So really not a great hold on B, and it all started with that attempted aggression towards the Monster Canal. It's one of those plays where if you're Ghost Gaming, you wish you could get that one back. However, both players will survive theoretically. Seb's got a player right around the corner from him, but he'll walk away with that AK, and that'll help field the buy just a little bit more, as Wardell will have roughly 7K to drop a gun, and Seb can throw one out as well.
Speaking of Seb, man, look at where he's at currently in the scoreboard. Currently 12-2, so he's been dominating for Ghost, despite the fact that they didn't necessarily get the greatest start, and they're still down at the moment against Rush here. That could very easily change in this upcoming round, though, as they have a big buy for themselves. So we'll see what exactly Rush will try to deploy towards them, if Ghost will be able to properly counter that. At the moment, it's looking okay for them as they go for this boosting, and this time it works brilliantly. They catch Ruru and Akis moving in through the alt tunnel before they even properly get themselves set up. They're already being pelted down by the CTs. Nonetheless, though, a trade is going to move its way in, and it's down on the B site too. Toy finds the kill into Neptune, but it's at a heavy cost to Toy's own HP. He's now down at 1 after winning that battle.
Minute and 15 here on the clock. The bomb working back towards A. Got Wardell in the bathrooms with his op, just watching for the mid push, and now setting up for an angle at Party. 2 players already up long. That would be Silent and his cohort Blade. Bomb now joining them, as well as Toy. Just a full team effort towards long. Without that scoped rifle, they're not really in a great spot to try and take it, but they are going to be walking right towards Wardell, who's actually in mid bathrooms, not playing long. He could get very overwhelmed here. He's got to be careful. Molotov comes out at the perfect time, just as they were about to push past it. Had he thrown that a second later, they run it out instead to try and beat the damage, and he loses his life. So he buys his team some clock here, and he's going to hold back on this A site with this AWP.
Well, now for Rush. Again, down a player here, but so is Ghost. They are trying to slowly wiggle their way up towards A, and at the moment, they don't have a whole lot of players paying attention to it. The problem is that they don't use any utility to really get into this site. There's a couple of pop flashes, and they really aren't that great. So both Wardell and Seb hit their opening kills. Wardell with a bit of a miss, though, so now he's kind of trapped. Gets that nice repeat, though, and he knows the last one is. Silent's still going to get the better of him, but now he's up against the 1v3. No way he's getting that site, especially considering at the time of his death, there was only like 3 seconds left. So, once again, Ghost respawn. They close it on the round. Rush is going to force into this one. So we'll see how much they're able to put together. And it should actually be a pretty decent buy. At least one ump's going to be in there, but everybody else should have AKs.
Right now, if you're Ghost, though, you really can't afford this pattern of this like back and forth sort of trading rounds. So you need to assert your dominance in one of these buy rounds to force your opponent back down to pistols so you can continue again tallying up the rounds on your CT side. However, their T side on train looked really good. So their T side here could look even better. They've got the op again. It's Wardell. No op for the Ts as they continue to struggle with their cash flow. Connor's playing close towards the Monster Canal, but there's only one player there. The bomb is back down in T-spawn, so they don't really have a clear direction decided upon yet. Just kind of sitting back to see if they can catch somebody out early. Pop flash from mid bathrooms as it goes out over the wall. Gives Akis and Ruru some room to work with. But they don't spot anything initially. Seb's playing a little bit more passive. He's around the corner, buried in the cubby, and oh, that's a nice flash. Thank you very much, Wardell. As Seb gets blinded by his teammate. The flash was supposed to go a little bit deeper, but it hit the water fountain, I believe, and landed right in front of his eyes.
Well, now we do have Wardell sitting back here. He'll get smoked back from long, so that is going to give Rush a little bit more room to work with to kind of, again, wiggle around the map here. But with time getting as low as it is, they are going to need to actually execute pretty soon, or they're, in all reality, probably not actually going to have enough time to get that bomb onto the ground based on the way that they fought for these sites previously. It's still very split up. I mean, you have Toy just battling through the paneling here, and Blade in a very awkward battle with Heartbeat. Heartbeat definitely comes out on top, and what's even better, he goes through and gets Toy. Now the last three, going to go for a kind of haphazard push into A. There's already someone that's going to be in a position to flank him, though. Sepp saw them moving in. Wardell gets one. He does kind of bait his teammate in a little bit, but thankfully they still have a huge man advantage, so Wardell going down is not a big deal currently, especially considering Sepp can push back in, essentially gets a free kill against Silent, and Ruro's not going to get very far. They even gets denied of just the plant.
That's actually a big denial, too. You know, that extra $800 would push them into, like, potential force buy territory. But instead, it should be a more dedicated save. And it's something we've seen from Rush, too, is that the ability to try and, like, hold back and realize, okay, there's no sense in us spending the money. We're not going to get it out of it. So they just get a flash in the smoke. They're going to try and get a bomb plant. Looks like it's going to be towards B. So they use that flash to enter into the site, and then the smoke will go down on top of the bomb to try and get a plant or to burn out or to extinguish the molly. They didn't really do a good job of extinguishing the molly, though. They just go right on through it, and unfortunately for them, Blade's stuck on the other side. Neptune just gets a little bit of a mow-down, hoe-down on the B side. Even Connor getting in on the action. It's a full house split hold for them as Ghosts get their 6th round. It should be a buy up here, but again, no op in play. This is exactly the problems they had on train.
Yeah, and now with Ghost in really full control of the situation, we finally do have to see Rush go back down onto just a half buy here. Tech 9's a P250 for Silent as he does try to save up for the op coming into the next gun round here. They get themselves a little bit of utility. Decent amount of mollies on it, so they can go for a quick like flood of the B site and then just try to force their way in. But look at this stack now. Big old boost. The triple man stack up on top. It's spotted, however, so Heartbeat's only going to be able to get one with it, and then Akis responds from that back corner. Just brings it into a 4v4. He does spot the big amount of players that are in here, though, so again, should be able to suspect it if they follow through and push into this B site.
Neptune with one more kill onto Akis as the bodies continue to pile up here. The kill count working in Ghost's favor. Silent, Toy, and Blade left standing, and Toy is pinned in the corner here over by Monster Canal, just waiting for his team to make a move. I mean, Silent is in water as well. I think at this point they're just using Blade as a decoy to try and pull players back, but he's just one man and he's only got a Tech 9. So Seb kills him quickly. There's no reason for them to rotate off that kill. Blade, though, is still in position. He's now ran up long, and he's going to move back towards mid bathrooms. They have actually pulled someone over, so Neptune is grouping up with them as they get set for what appears to be a take towards B eventually. 38 seconds left. Rush still hasn't made their move, but it should come in just a moment here. They have a little bit of utility to work with as well. So a couple of flashes and a smoke, and now they've actually found themselves an M4, which might be pivotal to getting into the site. First molly's in. Silent leads the way. He actually had the M4. He dropped it off to Blade, but now Blade's the last man standing. They don't even get a single kill there. Really well held by Ghost.
Wardell specifically, man, is going off. It's like just going through the motions for him at this point. Op shot, and then follows it up with the 5-7 to spray down there to be able to close down on that round. Really great stuff from him, and a good showing overall from Wardell to possibly push him up to the Pro League finally. So 7-4. Obviously, Rush still had a little bit of cash build up from the beginning of the half, so they aren't going to be completely forced into a double save there. They do just buy in after that one save, and now they're back up to full power. Wardell trying to test the waters, though, missing that shot, and now has to get the heck out of here. There's a 4-man push working its way towards Fountain. He's definitely not going to survive if he stays there for any longer.
Five AKs or 4 AKs and an AWP. Got so used to saying 5 AKs for the side of Rush, being as they were, force buying a lot. They're here with that op, so they saved up one additional time to get this AWP. That's what the whole point of that was. Full utility and the op after a force buy. It's really not bad for them. They've already got 4 rounds. So realistically speaking, if they can just grind out a few more, they're not in a terrible spot. I mean, yeah, Ghost has taken over to a certain degree here, but they're not necessarily in a corner here. Seb continuing that dominant approach to the map. He gets 2 more kills. Oh, I thought Wardell had Silent there as he saw the kneecap first, but it spun back on its head. It could be around here for Rush unless Connor can stop this one. Crondle even getting in on the action, and now it ends up in a 1-versus-1. It'll be Ruru versus Connor. That would be Heartbeat. As he leaps around underneath, he hears the bomb moving in towards this A site. Is Connor going to be able to get there in time to prevent Ruru from getting into better position?
Molly is going to push Ruru into the safe corner here, but Heartbeat probably really won't know that yet. He pushes up, spots him, but Ruru still follows. Excuse me. Ruru still follows through. Well, I had to sneeze. Ruru still follows through and wins out the round. So Rush will go up to 5.
There's that infamous clip where it sounded like you burped. And I'm pretty sure that was this map too. So now you've burped and sneezed during a live Overpass broadcast.
That was like a really weird lag or something that made that happen.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
I remember watching that back. That was really weird.
But yeah, either way, a 5th round for Rush. It's kind of what we were talking about, right? Like 5 rounds, they're already like kind of at the half line. This is where a lot of teams get on their Overpass halves for T side. So a few more, they can maybe break the money for Ghost. It's not out of the question to see this become like a 9-6 or even an 8-7 in favor of Rush if they can pull this off. Connor's going to play close, and he just dry peeks. He loses Neptune in the site as well, so that aggression, again, costing them 2 players early on. It makes the round that much harder for them. Crondle is in pit. He's throwing everything he's got out to try and delay it, and he does a pretty decent job, but the players from Rush are taking their time waiting for the rest of the team to join them as the smokes go down. Crondle's going to get a freebie as Ruru tries to go past the smoke with the flashes, but Crondle's in front of those flashes, so he doesn't even see him, and just like that, it's spun back again. How does it happen? Rush had a great opportunity on this B site. At one point, it was a 5-versus-3, and then it's a 3-versus-1. Just like that, Ghosts bring it right back around, and they reset Rush.
And so with that said, we end up 8-5 with Ghost having really great control over this situation. Rush are going to find themselves broken again, and completely broken for some of these players too. Toy and Blade sitting at just 1,600 between the two of them. So with Akis and the rest of the guys not looking too much better, they're going to call for a pause. I believe it's a relatively short pause though, so it should just go off in a second. This might just be sort of a mental reset time for Rush, just to kind of relax themselves a little bit and figure out what exactly is going wrong with these situations, and hopefully try to plan for the next gun round coming up after this one, as they are going to be forcing into it regardless.
So I think at this point it's safe to say the jig is up regarding the roster, because there's another match live currently for Ghost Gaming. So you can kind of put the pieces together. That's why B had to hightail it out of there, as Ghost had to field a very interesting mix of players to play in their ECS match for tonight and also compete here. Saturation. Don't you just love it?
I'm amazed they were able to. It's like they have 2 teams almost now.
Yeah, there's the A squad and the B squad. I mean, obviously, right now, Crondle is not a bad fill-in, and he's doing a decent enough job, and Ghost is having a pretty solid half. It's not like crazy good. It's not what we saw from them on Train, but it's what you would expect. Like I said, coming into this one, Overpass isn't an inherently strong map for Ghost, but I put these teams on more of an even playing field with this map. It's kind of like last night when we watched Enigma 6 and Rush play. Cobblestone was the more even of the 2 maps, Mirage was a blowout just because of how heavily it favored Enigma 6. But that's the problem that Rush has had all season long, right? Like, their map pool is not super deep. This is actually the map that Rush won to make it into ESL Pro League last season with amazing performance from Little Man. I think he dropped like 32 kills against Splice in the third map of that series. So, like, they feel confident on the map. And we are seeing some of that, but unfortunately the money is the biggest problem from right now. They've had to force and save so many rounds. But look at this. It's going to be a free pass. Speaking of reminding us of Cobble, looks like that save round where they just ran up mid last night against Enigma 6 and had a free pass onto that site. Where I was like, wait, how did they get into this A site?
Yeah, Seb's going to hear this, though, so they can still just basically set up for a retake, and it'll be full 5-on-5. And keep in mind, they're working with some pretty bad guns. At the very least, they'll get themselves the plant, and they can probably escape with a few kills. This is still a great round, regardless of the outcome of it. As we do start to see them get shut down, but still left into a 3v2. Still a decent chance for Rush to try and clutch this one out. Specifically, we do have to see Blade move his way in. Now it is just on Rue, though. But with an op, considering that this was essentially a full save round, might be better off just trying to run away with that one, and he gets decked at the very end of it by Neptune. Ghost still close it out with 3 alive, but like I said, considering what exactly Rush had there, it's not bad. It's certainly going to boost them up a little bit for this last round.
So they come into this round with very little, just a couple of AKs and 2 umps. The biggest problem for them has been that Silent was kind of the heavy hitter with the op in the past for the team, and they just haven't been able to afford it across both maps. It's been really hard fought battle with the cash. Seb feeling the round right now. He's going to get aggressive, and he might have a smorgasbord in front of him. He actually ends up falling empty-handed, but there's Wardell to get 1-2, make it a third. He's playing with his smoke. Oh my god, if he hit that shot onto Silent, that would have been crazy, but it's down to just 2. Silent and Blade versus 3 for the opposing force, and they've already brought players and siphoned them off of B to defend this A site.
Now for the last 2 on Rush, they are going to try to swing their guys up through long and get into the site, but Heartbeat already here to defend it. He has Neptune if Heartbeat goes down a little bit behind the fence over here. So Rush are certainly going to have this a tough time, and I think Heartbeat just saw both of them. That Molly misses, just ends up burning the top of the truck in all reality, and the teams do the same, but Heartbeat, oh my goodness, almost got shot in the back. I think he realized that Blade pushed out there at first, but thankfully stays alive anyway. And now this goes down to a 3v1 at the hands of Silent. A full minute remaining on the clock here, so while it does look like he's falling back to save, it's going to be a long time before he has... Well, actually, no, he wouldn't. Excuse me. It's 15th round. What am I thinking? He wouldn't save here, so he's going to fall back and probably swing down towards B. Let's see if he can make a bet for that site instead.
Might be able to make something happen here. He's got his trusty gun, the big green cannon known as the op. Crondle, I believe Crondle heard the footsteps there, so...
He heard it, but he's not going to stop it.
I think he heard it, but then he's second-guessing himself. He's like, maybe I didn't hear it.
Well, he's going to know now with that smoke.
Yeah. I mean, that's the dead giveaway. So Silent will get the bomb down at least. There's no reason for him to really go for this. He can hold here. Silent has no idea he's in this position, which is the great play for Crondle right now. But Silent's already taken out one of his teammates, so it's going to be up to Crondle to try and make a play here as they know where the second man is, but now Crondle's made some noise, and Silent holds the line. It's a 1 versus 1 between Neptune and Silent, and he already knows where Neptune's at. Misses the shot, and that gives Neptune an opportunity. Misses the second as well. He's going to smoke the bomb. Neptune gets tagged. 9 HP for Neptune, but he's got the smoke down. Surely this can't happen again. Not again. Silent's not going to let that happen this time. It's a 6th round for Ghost, and it's a 4K for Silent, and it basically all started once he got that op.
Yeah, so Rush do manage to piece together that round at the very end of it. They bring it up to 6-9. At the very least, find themselves a somewhat decent T-side at half. Now, we need to see that follow through onto the CT side there, because if Ghost just comes in with some very direct strats that Rush are not going to be able to counter very much, kind of like what we saw back on the last map, then Ghost is ultimately still going to be able to shut this one down relatively quickly and take control of this 2-0. So we'll have to see what Rush will offer us when the players do get readied up and jump into the second half. But definitely a much more respectable performance from Rush that time.
Yeah, they looked a lot more solid on their T side here. I mean, just imagine what they could have done if they were able to chain rounds together more consistently. You know, what did we see? Like, we saw back-to-back ecos. I think we saw like 5 save rounds from Rush in that first half. So, you know, 1/3 of the rounds played in the first half, they actually had to eco, and they still get 6 rounds. That's really not that bad.
No, it's not bad at all. And overall, with the exception of like 2 players, Ghost actually kind of flatlined a little bit at the middle of that half there. We saw them kind of get some momentum on the first gunner and whatnot, but then they fell off a little bit, and that's where Rush was really able to move in and kind of secure those last few rounds to allow them to end up with this decent scoreline. It was mainly like Wardell and I think Heartbeat, right, that were doing most of the heavy lifting for Ghost, and besides that, we didn't really see a whole lot from some of the other guys comparatively to well, no, I think it was Seb, excuse me, not Heartbeat. That was one of the big fraggers. We can't see the score when we're between halves, unfortunately, so it's a little bit hard to tell unless you pull up the actual match page. But ultimately, besides those two, it seemed to kind of fall off quite a bit after you got past those guys, and we didn't see a whole lot of impact coming in from the others.
So now we wait. Maybe they're checking the scores of the ECS match. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw the Reddit post. It was
it's awkward. It's so awkward. Like,
Ghost,
I didn't want to talk about it, but at the same point in time, like it's got to come up. There's two games that live at the same time.
Ghost out here hustling like no other team is what the post said. So I think that's the one and only time you're gonna check HLTV and see two teams playing two matches, or one team playing two matches at the same exact time. So.
They just have a 12-man roster. No big deal.
I mean, there you go.
It's normal. Everyone agreed to take a pay cut. I mean, the interesting thing to me is the fact that they could actually field that many players. I'm surprised they were able to find enough players for that game.
Oh, who do they? I was looking at the ECS stream to try and see who they have. It's interesting who they ended up getting to fill in for them. I think they have Davey and Sanks on the roster, and then like one or two others as well that are playing.
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
like it's Shot Up
Mitch,
who actually Shot Up who is a part of the team, sort of. Like, I don't know where his position lies with that team. And then they have Mitch, Davey, and Sanks as well. I think Mitch and Davey was playing with E United last season, playing with Mitch. And I think Mitch is now regrouped with his former Vault roster, which is like Mainline, Gramps, and those guys who are, I think, going to be competing in Premier next season. Sanks was playing with Muff and Lightning. I don't know where he ended up. It really is just kind of like a hodgepodge of available players that they got for that game.
Yeah, so, well, they managed to get together, though, at the very least, so they have that going for them. But it does look like we are live now with the second half, folks, so let's jump into it and see if Ghost is going to be able to keep their lead going, or if Rush still has a little bit of fight left in them. Initial great shot from Akis, but they're trying to take this battle at water, and that may not be the best course of action. Wardell takes down Blade. Heartbeat follows it up with one of his own, and he gets a second against Akis now. That's almost the entire site cleared out. Ruru stays alive, but only by the grace of going behind the big old wall. Toy finds one of the flank, gets a second, too. They're opening up an opportunity, but now they battled it back, and Wardell hits those last two kills to secure it for Ghost.
Great pistol round from Ghost as they, just grab that 10th round, which is what they should have had in the first half if they had not kind of botched that last round in the 1 versus 4. So it could have been 11-5 right now, but instead it's going to be 10-6. Pistols in play here for Rush. And this is one of the few times we've actually seen them put a bit of force behind it, and I think they're just playing the map a bit more, and also the fact that obviously they haven't been doing them any favors. The round total is starting to pile up. They're going to stack this B site, which isn't going to go well for them, because just like Rush did in their anti-eco, they're going to go straight towards long with that bomb. No one wants to go towards B in these situations. Just too difficult to clear out all of these little corners, nooks, and crannies. So it's a decent idea from Rush, but in practice, I don't think it's going to produce much.
Yeah, and now Ghost will essentially just have an easy walk-on over to the A bomb site here now, since Rush took the gamble on it. Would have to hope that they can save up for the third round and have some better luck there, but while we do have Silent rotating over again, that's only one player. And the other 4 are still very much plastered down over onto the B site, and they may even have themselves a little bit of a fight too, since Wardell is still kind of down here lurking. So it is going to be a very awkward round, regardless of its outcome. But in a moment here, you're going to see Blade tries to swing out. Wardell gets himself the double before going back down. And Silent not even up on the site, currently just hanging out underneath of the bank. And we'll probably evacuate with the rest of his teammates in a second here.
Should be a pretty easy round for Ghost to close out. Akis is just going to hold on to this AK. That's a nice little gift from Wardell. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. Toy has that 5-7 as well. Akis can drop the 5-7. Silent, sorry, bud. You're going to be back on a P250 next round, because you're the op and you have to save up as much money as possible. And that's kind of why he's playing more of an exit angle, because he realizes there is no value to this puny little handgun I've got before me. So he's looking for a player that will try to hunt down his team. He's going to now try and get away, and he should be able to get outside of the distance of the bomb. But this will help the next round just a little bit. We'll give them a little bit more firepower. Even Silent's going to upgrade to a 5-7. So we'll see Akis throw that one away. He's going to give it to Ruru. Blade's the only one with the USP, so he'll be forced to work with that vanilla pistol. So it's really not terrible, all things considered. Even Silent spends a bit of money to get some armor behind his 5-7.
And they're going to be able to hold themselves pretty well in this round. More than likely, the AK obviously having itself the most effectiveness. And this time they actually get it onto the right site, too. They went for this big old stack again. I just had Silent push out solo to try and check for A. So they're going to know it's a 4-man stack. This could actually be a little bit dangerous. Moving in. Blade's looking the wrong way. All eyes on Akis now to impact. Gets one. Gets two. It's been traded a lot heavily against him, however. So still holding downstairs and waiting for Silent to rotate back in. He's going to get caught throwing out that flashbang. So he does go down before he can pick up a third or any additional kills. And Silent, it's a bit of an unfortunate fate. Decked down by Sev from on the site. And that will secure the 12th round for Ghost.
So they double up their opponent 12-6. Those saved guns didn't really do much for them. Seb's going to be rocking the Galil this round. So we'll see if that has an effect at all. No op for either team, so no Wardell versus Silent duel. No chance for that 1 versus 4 awesomeness that we saw from Silent at the end of the first half. And I'd love to see Ghost just kind of keep up this pace. This is what we saw from them on Train. When they played fast, I felt like that was when they were able to beat out Rush. It was when they played slow that they struggled. Right through mid is 7. It takes them a bit of time. That Galil, it certainly is a devious little bastard. Silent, though, has managed to creep behind the wall, and he's hiding behind the divider. I'm curious to see if they're going to peek it, given that they got that kill on Toy already.
And now Seb is going to push forward, looking for the kill against Ruru. He is going to be able to find that to the first entry, but still Silent. Once again in a position to try and save the day. Swinging out, catches the freebie onto Ruru. Still catches Neptune while recovering his gun as well, but he gets it out in time. He's able to trade out onto Silent. And now leaves Akis and Blade left alive as the last 2 for Rush here. They do have a pinch possibility, so they're probably actually going to end up going for this, considering that. Akis has like a lot of utility too. Problem is Neptune waits for Akis to cross that threshold. He will take him down without any response, and now Blade is certainly going to be looking to save, not carelessly fight for this 1v4 any longer.
Blade at least holds on to his M4 just a little while longer, but now the players from Ghost are hunting him down. He's in a decent position to get one at least going up over top. If they both jump out, though, that's when things get difficult, and there it is, exactly what we said would happen. Both players time the jump. They lose a couple additional AKs, but I don't think they really care. They've put themselves within closing distance. Just 3 rounds now, separating Ghost Gaming from making Pro League and Rush from being relegated back down to Premier again after everything this team worked for. It would be really unfortunate to see it go down like this. Honestly, I don't know if the team would survive.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough times for Rush to see if they'll end up carrying it through, or if this is just gonna end up being their last hurrah at this event. But for Ghost, sending their players pretty much directly out towards long this time around. Akis going to be hanging out inside of the top portion of the bathroom connector. You can get one with the P250, but doesn't end up happening. Ruru has some better luck with it, though. The CZ God, as we saw back on the last map. Only 1 kill with it. Now already down to 16 bullets. They'll have to do a whole lot more if they want to have a chance of winning out this round. Tries to swing in, gets an additional pickup there, up to 2 now. Teammates also try to jump into the action, but unfortunately they don't find nearly the effectiveness. Still Ruru, the solo kill, and he may have himself the 3rd kill in a second. He gets it. Out of ammo now, but he's found his upgrade to an AK and just barely escapes into those bathrooms. I think, however, considering what's about to transpire, he would have tried to fall back to save, but Seb knocks him out anyway. So again, down to Silent in a 1v2 scenario and immediately taken out as soon as he peeks into the open.
So this is pretty much it if you're Rush. I mean, this is the end here. They're going to get the op. They're going to spend every penny they have to field the strongest possible buy to prevent what at this point almost feels inevitable. This is something we talked about at MDL. You know, you feel like we watch so many games where it's like 15x and we see a comeback until it's 16-13 they lose. It's like you're just delaying the inevitable. Not that it's there's anything wrong with trying to field a comeback. But we watch so many games, and it's so frustrating to see so many teams get so close to bringing it back, only to lose that 1 round. Here, though, Rush get off to a great start. Ruru is going to get the opener, and that's Seb going down. Another kill coming in for Rush, so they're not out of this one yet. They've got a great crossfire as well, with Toy already playing up towards Party. They've got Ruru now coming around the corner. A dink shot on the man who is hiding in the corner. That's Connor. Players transcending into this position. So just like that, we see Ghost get cut down quickly. Not even one casualty is all they're going to get. So a really solid round for Rush. They spent every penny they have, and they survive with 4. That's what they need if they're going to even stand a chance at bringing this back.
Yeah, so there's the foundations of it. And the good news is, too, is Ghost are working with, like, a really odd amount of cash right now. Looking for, specifically, Wardell, who just buys for himself instead of relying on a team drop, which I don't even think he... Oh, yeah, no, he does get the op dropped over towards him, so he has that going for him at the very least. But I think Crondle has to downgrade to a Tech 9 because of that. So they're already on the cusp of being broken. Rush could still get back into this game now. It's just a matter, again, like I've been saying for a lot of these 2 maps so far, it's just a matter of consistency. They can't win 1 and then immediately drop 3 more after that, especially under these circumstances here. So they are going to have to make sure that they do kind of lock it down from this point forward. And we see a good performance from them to try and run the comeback. Ghost, however, are starting to set up now for a straightforward B execute. There's a great cross spray set up between Aegis and Blade here at Monster, but no smokes are covering it, so they have full vision moving in. Aegis hits the first kill, traded out by Seb, and Seb also transfers that over to Blade. Now they've opened up their opportunity to get over towards this B-bomb site. They're not fully committing just yet, which is giving time for the Rush players to try and rotate back down. They don't fully commit to it, though. Bit of an awkward exchange there. Gets tagged down a bit, and then just casually swings over to eliminate Seb. The molly pressure and smoke pressure from the CTs is going to be enough to force Ghost back, but it's also setting themselves up in a pretty good pattern to hold this 3v3.
Oh, Connor just guns them down. Ruru and Toy were in position, and again, it will be up to Silent, and there's really not much of a chance here. Tries to drop the smoke down and get the defuse. Not really surprised that Connor's the man to pick up the 3K there in the clutch. Look at the top 3 for Ghost Gaming. 26 for Seb, 20 for Connor, 22 for Wardell. Silent did what he could in a few rounds in that first half when he was actually able to afford his op, but it was mostly Ruru who was chiming in with consistent performances in each round. So it's now Ghost Gaming. They've got Rush against the wall. It's going to be Umps and M4 and just a lowly P250 for Toy. This could be the end. I hate to say it, too. Love the guys from Rush. I wish them the best of luck, whatever happens in this one. Blade getting the opening kill onto Crondle, but it's immediate trade out as Wardell picks off Aegis in the water position. He was trying to push up into that short canal. The bomb now just sitting back by T stairs. As they fall back towards A, they don't realize that there's really only one player playing towards B right now. That's actually Ruru, who's in water as well. The rest of the team kind of floating between both A and B.
Well, it may not be set and matched just yet with Rush still having this aggressive control. Silent needs to be so careful, though. Works out, gets the first kill, almost gets himself a second. That's Neptune now down at 10 HP because of his firing. So it leaves it into a 3v3 with 3 very injured Ghost players. When you look at both Seb and Neptune, I should say 2 of them are injured. But they have lots of utility to use still. Rush is kind of looking a little bit low in that regard. So Ghost still has a chance to shut this one down, and plenty of time as well. Still 50 seconds remaining on that clock. They will split the remaining 3 players, having Seb go off on his own to try and make some noise over towards A. Problem is in a second, well, Toy's actually outside. I thought he was sitting in the bathroom watching for a split down the connector. So he may not actually catch Seb just going through it, unless he gets really good timing on this peak. Even so, though, Ruru may just be able to catch Seb. Anyway, when he goes downstairs, for the other 2, they are crossing that out tunnel now. They don't actually catch Ruru, who's just up on top of it. They're not able to see his feet or anything, so he gets away scot-free, and it's probably been called to Seb that this is actually open right now, while the other 2 are going to push into the site. Ruru should be able to easily secure that kill, and now get himself an upgrade to an AK, so it's going to be a 2v3 post-plant for the guys on Ghost.
Oh, this nade right in the sight, it just lands. Perfect timing. So they screwed themselves with the clock. Wardell has to run out past the smoke they threw down to try and plant as the bomb flew out from Neptune. Bomb physics are fun. It just kind of spilled out into Catwalk. So they kind of screwed themselves with the clock there. They played themselves, taking just too long to try and get into a site. And as a result, Rush are not out of this one yet. It's going to take 7 straight rounds for them to tie this one up. Just in case your math is not as keen as mine. You know, I'm really good at that addition. So Seb and company working with the pistols. Tech 9s, P250, and a Deagle for Crondle as well. And they're just going to run straight at them, going right towards mid. They actually take a shot right off the bat from Toy's AK, dropping Crondle down to 62, but they still push this fight forward. They're Silent. He's at the bottom of connector with his op, holding down the door. The smoke goes down to prevent them from pushing past it. Ruru is in the site as well, watching for the push that's going to be coming towards long in just a moment.
Ghost already losing one of their own, but yeah, indeed, there is going to be this big old long push working its way in. Ruru still trying to hold from behind the dice box here. He's going to find himself in a very chaotic situation. Call with an nade up to Toy's there to bail him out, but Ruru goes down without getting any kills at all. Now they'll start to move in, trying to flood this out, but it's really not paying off for them. Silent and Toy find those last 2 kills, and Rush do secure themselves a 6 more to go, and we'll end up in overtime. Ghost will also more than likely have to end up saving here.
So it should be double-digit rounds here. Like, this should be a 15-10. This should be a full save from Ghost. I honestly don't even see the point in buying a P250 at this point. Just get this round over with. It's a throwaway. Maybe you can get the bomb down if you stick together. But they're going to be running right into the face of Toy, who's trying to get in position to prevent them from crossing. He sees them at the very least, so he knows where they're going. The nade over the top is on the mark. Does some damage, rings some ears. And Silent now is going to fall back to try and defend this A site. They've got Toy still here watching bathrooms, but they're just going to keep going right towards long. They're going to try and get past him if they can. It's 1 for Silent, 2 for Silent. Come on, keep going. Don't disappoint. Throws the molly down. That'll be 3 for Silent. Is he going to get a 4th with a pistol? Nope, he's going to go back to his op. He can't spot him now. His own molly is making it difficult.
They still need to make sure that they have money for revives in the following round, so I think that's actually pretty smart that he doesn't just kind of aimlessly go out and pick up a few kills there. Just lets his teammate get a piece of the pie at the very end of it. He's happy with a nice little 3K versus doing you get that 10th round though with no losses at all. So it is great for them to make sure that their money stays strong and they don't have to make any sacrifices going round to round here as they basically just try to grind their way up to 15. Ghost though going to be back into the buy. They do kind of force the issue a little bit. Their utility is not that great. 4 smokes. They managed to get Wardell on an op, but only 1 molly. They're not really going to have a whole lot of pressure to force Rush out of, these default spots, which can be a real pain if you try to go for like a direct contact play, which may be exactly what Ghost is trying to look towards on this round.
Oh, Silent with the fast move early on in the round, taking down one of the top performers for Ghost. That's a brutal kill and a huge loss for Ghost right off the bat. So a fast play from Silent, taking us back to his glory days there for a moment with that op shot. And now you can see Ghost is like, okay, well, what do we do now? That was our man Catwalk. That was one of our setup guys for the round. We've now lost him. How are we going to play this one out? They seem like they're still going to go for this B play as they're getting set up for the smokes and flashes. Neptune getting ready to jump throw. Crondle is here watching for that push that could come through, but there's 2 players waiting for them with loving arms on the other side of the Monster Canal. So at this point, it feels like Ghost is just baiting out utility, but the biggest problem is that Toy has already pushed up in mid, so at this point, the jig is up. All Ruru has to do is peek connector, and they know exactly what's about to happen.
Well, now Ghost are going to toss in their mollies and start to move in. The thing is, there's that setup again. They did only get really 1 kill last time, but this time they have a pop flash to support it, and it appropriately completely destroys the Ghost hit. Ruru is going to swing in here, get the back headshot against Wardell, and shuts that round down. Nicely played from Akis. And the pop flash support is very much welcome this time, as it does actually allow that setup to work.
That was a fantastic pop flash, too. With the position that Akis had, I was worried that he was actually going to get flashed by it, so he just kind of skated up onto the corner, and the flash came through, and everyone was blind. It landed perfectly, like, right at the end of the canal. No one could see anything, and he just gets a lineup spray of 3. So it's back down to pistols again here for Ghost. They're hitting a bit of a wall, struggling to close this game out, falling into the same traps that we saw Rush fall into in that first half. Can't get their money in order, can't afford everything they need for the rounds, and Jesus, Blade lines up 3, doing his best Akis impersonation, but Akis says, well, you left 2 on the table there. I'm going to scoop those ones up. 12 rounds now for Rush. They're down just 3.
And now, well, Ghost will have themselves another full buy here, but again, they seem to have, I think as you were saying, they kind of hit themselves a wall, and now, seemingly out of nowhere, Rush is just absolutely crushing whatever Ghost throw at them. But just look at the money. That should speak for itself. Everybody except for Blade is rich right now. 5.4k for Rue, but the other 3 are sitting over 10k post-buy, so they've got plenty of money to toss around in the event they should require that. But meanwhile, on the Ghost side of things, they're taking a much slower route this time around here, as they do hold their players back inside of the playground, the upper halls, and then back downstairs as well. Seb is going to be just going to be hanging out outside of Monster in the event Rush try to push, which is a high likelihood, so Seb's position might work out great for him. He's definitely spotted pressure. He's got to be careful those are about to push him. Tries to swing back, but it's too late. Blade's already shut down Seb, and now they have full control downstairs and should just be able to rotate up.
Yeah, they've still got 4 players here, so there's still plenty for them to work with, and they've got the op for Wardell, and they've got Connor alive still. It's a pretty big piece of the puzzle right now. Working up mid, they've got to concern themselves with the player who's lurking in connector stairwell. That'll be Toy, who's holding the top of the stairs. Ruru holding the bottom. Both these players now trying to push aggressively. Oh, this could backfire so horribly. With Ruru pushing past, they're actually going towards this A side. Ruru is going to be so disconnected from the play once it finally comes through. And even Toy is in a great position to play this one out. So now they're going to be able to take this site, and Akis gets caught looking the opposite direction, trying to prevent the push from long. This is not good right now if you're Rush. Everything was going so well for you, but that's a huge loss on the site. And they're going to be able to get the bomb down as well. Molly on top of the smoke. They still get the bomb planted just as the molly comes down. Wardell picks off one more. It's Toy, Silent, and Ruru left trying to hold on to this Pro League spot. And now just Ruru. And like we said, so disconnected, at least stab. But it seems like this should be it. Moving in from long, 3 players in front of him. Great pop flash to open things up. He's got another one right in front of him. It's Crondle behind the boxes, but he's got Neptune backing him up. The position could not work out better for Ghost. And that's going to be it. Ghost Gaming have made it into the ESL Pro League. And unfortunately for Rush, it's back down to Premier.
And it is going to be a whole new season with all new teams taking up those slots. We'll have no repeat teams from the relegation. No one is going to be able to save their slot. So it is going to be Enigma 6 along with Ghost Gaming that claim the 2 relegation slots, along with our normal move-up team who plays first place in Premier as well, and will also be sending their way up. But that does set it up, and again, very straightforward set. Rush kind of, like we were saying before, kind of coming alive at the end of this last map, but I think that was much more by the graces of Ghost kind of hitting a wall and the pressure getting to them a bit, so they started making quite a few crucial mistakes, like running into those setups outside of Monster and Wanda. They were able to deal with it one round, but the second round, where the CTs actually used a pop flash for it, went much, much better for them. Overall, though, Ghost still are able to hold on, and they take it 2-0, claiming that final slot in Pro League. And I believe that is going to do it for us here at the relegation event. Bach, of course, will be back on Saturday for the Cologne qualifiers. But anything else you want to say before we do shut the stream down here?
No, just a great game from Ghost Gaming. Really promising young teams coming into Pro League next season between them and Enigma 6 and also Splice. It'll be interesting to see if we again have a few teams that can hang. Like last season, we had 3 teams come in from Premier. 2 of them did not get relegated. One of them almost qualified for LAN. Like, I don't know where Misfits finished, but LG almost qualified for Pro League finals. They were in 7th place. They had like one. Yeah, I think they were 13 and 11. I don't remember. The record gave them one more win, would have pushed them into that 6th place tie, and I think they would have won the tiebreaker as well. So, I mean, good performances last season from the Premier teams outside of Rush. I'm excited to see what these new guys are going to do as well.
Well, that is going to shut things down for us right now, guys. Thank you all very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.